We covered more today than the entirety of my Intro to Computer Science class so far.
Yeah, true.
It was so slow. It's nice to actually be able to learn and not just like listen to ranting.
That's great. That's great because I mean, learning should be fun and learning should be practical, right? Learning is always theory and practice, and a lot of times classes are just all theory and no practice. Is torture. It's boring. So learning should always be fun and practical and enjoyable overall. All right. So hello everybody, and welcome to CodePath at TCU's Intro to Web Dev course, to week 1 of our course. So a little bit of overview first. This course is a beginner-friendly web development course that is designed to introduce anybody who's interested in programming to get their feet wet, to just know a little bit of what it's like. And I believe web development is like the best way to go into it, because it's just so applicable. You can write code in JavaScript and you can run code anywhere. And if you just have any laptop, then you can do web dev instead of having to have like a Mac for iOS development or all kinds of things like that. So this class is just for beginners to get into web development, but also for ComSci students, programmers, to get into full stack development and really like open the door. So this course is basically designed for everybody. So starting off, I just wanna, everybody to get to know each other a little bit more. So I want everybody to like take a turn to just say their name, major, year, and why they sign up for this course. That's it. So Riley, do you want to start? Riley? Yeah, do you want to? Oh, right. Yeah, he's roommate sleeping. All right, Caroline.
Hi, I'm Caroline. I'm a junior, and I'm a BIS major and computer science minor. Oh, and I did this course because I did the iOS one, and I learned a lot last year, so I want to learn about web development.
Yeah, Caroline and Raven, they were my students last semester to learn iOS development, and it was pretty fun. And Raven?
Hi everyone, I'm Raven. I'm a computer science major. I'm a junior, and I took this class because I want to know more about web development.
Fair, that's fair. And Marco?
Hello, my name is Marco. I'm a freshman and my major is computer science. I heard about this course when they're having like the rec fair and all that, so just learning from there. And I was like, I'm probably gonna sign up for this, and yeah, I'm here now.
That's great. That's great. And word of advice is always great for freshmen to just like reach out to or seek out new opportunities. Freshman year, I didn't do any of that. I just thought I was gonna like get a 4.0 and just move on. But that was a mistake. 4.0s didn't help me at all. But it was all the different opportunities that got me to like all the things that I like, got to go to. So really grateful for that. But connections and resources and opportunities is all that matters. That's all that matters. All right. So Riley also did his self-intro in the chat, so appreciate that. All right. So now we're going to the introduction for the actual course. So brief agenda. I want to discuss why I think people should learn programming. We're programmers, but I think everybody should learn programming because for several reasons. And we'll just talk a bit. I'll introduce myself as well, and then we'll do a course overview. And the icebreaker, we'll read through that, so that's fine. And then we'll go into the lectures and labs. And by around the second half of the lecture, you guys will start building your personal website, and then we'll wrap up. So my name is Yulika Lufua. I'm from Taiwan. I was born and raised in Taiwan. I moved here when I was 16. And I went to high school in Fort Worth, and then came to TCU. Now I'm a senior computer science major. I'm the president and founder of CodePath at TCU Computer Science Club. that are just looking to provide free educational and career resources for anybody interested in programming at TCU. I've worked for CodePath since fall 2021 in different positions. I first got involved with CodePath in fall 2020 when I took their Android development course. That course was fun. I built a calendar app for my final project, an Android app, and that app, I can show you guys next time. That app is a AI integrated app where you can take your phone camera, take a picture of a poster, and then extract the text from the poster and use natural language processing, machine learning, to extract like the title, time, and location. So it was really cool. And I had a lot of fun. That's why I took the iOS course with them in spring 2021. And then after that, I became, they call it a tech fellow, which is a technical program manager to run the same course, the iOS course at TCU. So I started as that in fall 2021. And then again, spring 2022. And then I was a tech support rep, just helping, answer questions for iOS and web. And I became a web TA this past summer. So you can check out my LinkedIn and my personal website, everything's there. There's a lot more to see. So this past summer, I, through CodePath, got the job at Meta to go to their headquarters in Menlo Park, California, to teach their CodePath's web development course. And it's a full stack web development design for computer science freshmen and sophomore students. So I taught it to their intern. That's pretty much all of them. As you can see that right there. And that's me right there. And their interns learned full stack development in 3-4 weeks. They were full-time interns, just spending all their time on that. And some of them already had, one of them had 8 years of web development experience. I don't even know why he was there. He should have got a full-time job by then. He's like, I don't know, underclassman. He got 8 years of web dev experience. Like, he knew better than me. He knew better than other TAs. He might have known more web dev than the actual instructor. Nah, the instructor has 25-year experience, so he's up there. But that guy is just so damn good. I don't even know. I had nothing to teach him. I just did not have anything to teach him. So most of the students, they're good programmers, but some of the students, not so much even. Some of the students didn't even, not only knew nothing about web dev, did not know even JavaScript or JavaScript-like languages, did not even know Java. So it was like hard for them to catch on. But even like the students who struggled the most turned out performing really well, just because they were driven. They were really driven. So that's really all that matters, at the end of the day. So I thought about that. So I just feel like, really anybody can learn anything, really. So which is why I redesigned this course to teach this. And this course, I say I'm teaching it at TCU, but mostly it's for my YouTube. Yeah, I mostly aim for this to be like a course that's suitable for beginners to have a little bit of hands-on guidance and a little bit of opportunity to maybe find a friend and just go through this material together. So people can start learning web dev, because all the material that is used in the lectures is really just YouTube tutorials. And the reason for that is because it's all out there. You could have learned all these things by yourself. I could have learned programming by myself, but the problem is that it can be hard without guidance. It can be really hard without support. So the goal of this course is to provide that and encourage people to find a friend or somebody to go through the material, the YouTube reading list that is designed to bring people from knowing nothing to knowing something, right? And then have an opportunity to go through these tutorials and build out projects and really get going. I tried to self-learn programming when I was in high school. I did the W3 schools tutorials, and I went nowhere with that because I didn't know what to do after like finishing like the most basic stuff. Just didn't know what to do after. So with this course, I just want to bring people from knowing absolutely nothing to something, and something to something great. So that's it. So course overview, we're going to take a look at the the course portal right here, which if you have not taken a look at, I will send this in the chat so that you will be able to look at the course portal. You will look at this for just everything there is to know about the course, and for the course content and weekly content will all be there. Here is our reading list. We'll just go through these for the lecture. And then for the assignments, the instructions, everything, absolutely everything will be here. So this is where you have to go to look at everything relevant. And you just have to sign up for like an account or sign in with your Google for Notion, and then you should have access to it. And if you have any trouble accessing it, just let me know. So just a little bit going through the course overview. For this course, you will learn to do front-end code, back-end code. Front-end is basically everything about a website that a user interacts with. For example, Amazon.com. I always like to look at real websites for demonstrations. These everything that you see right here is the UI, and the code that goes into creating this UI is front-end code, which will include, where all these little buttons are placed, how these things interact, and where the data is coming from, and data is being displayed. So that all that is front-end code. And back-end code involves everything that you don't see that makes this work. So for example, you have your accounts that's logged in. So there's a lot going on in the back end that in behind the scenes that you don't see, but make things work. And backend also involve database, but sometimes it's like can be separate. So you're gonna obviously have a database for different kinds of information to be stored. And lastly, it's just deployment, because you build a website, you're gonna have it somewhere out there on the internet for people to see, right? That's what it means for you to deploy a website. So this course is designed to be absolutely beginner friendly, which means that if I'm going too fast, if I'm going too deep to the point where anybody is lost about anything, it will be my fault, not your fault, right? So if you have any questions about anything at any point, you're welcome to just interrupt and just tell me. So time commitment for this course is minimum 2 to 3 hours and maximum 10 to 15. And I gotta say, I have like a lot of stuff in my mind that like planned out for this course. If you have like enough time commitment, you can like build out a lot of projects, and I have to like design them myself. But like 90% of the people will say they will just do 2 to 3 hours. Like 95 people, like almost everybody said they'll just do 2 to 5. I was like, okay. I guess we'll just not worry about those things then. All right. So anyways, the course will just be in two parts, which is the lecture phase and the group project phase. And for the group project phase, it should be the fun part of the program, even though a lot of people just hate group projects. I totally get it. But the fact that you hate it and you still have to do it just means that you have to learn how to love it, right? You have to learn how to make it a pleasurable, enjoyable experience. And most importantly, you really have to work with a group to be able to build something that's really well-rounded, substantial, and just overall like a much better project than you could by yourself if you work with the right people and if you work with people right. So the group project, we'll speak more on that later on. And lastly, every session you will have labs and assignments, and every week you will have one assignment. So it's designed to be short, to just for you to apply the concepts. And for this week, we're going to go into a personal website. So hopefully that will be pretty interesting. All right. So that was a little course overview and the course timeline. This is the tentative course schedule. It's up to everything about that is to be changed based on what I deem to be appropriate. So far, for the day, we're just gonna go through some of the labs and then start building the personal website. And later on, you are gonna be assigned into a group and then work with those people for the most part. Seems like it might be just you guys. But hopefully the rest of the people who did sign up for the course will show up later on if they realize that they missed the first session and try to make it up. So that's totally fine. Starting from next week, you guys will go into a group and then start thinking about what you want to be building for your group project, which is just any website that you can think of, just literally anything. You could build your own version of Facebook, your own version of, I guess, Amazon, your own version of, or something completely new, like for example, you can build a Duolingo, but not for languages, but for what, financial literacy, right? I have that idea for a long time. Or you can build just anything. So you can think about that and then discuss that with your group mate. So now we're going to the lecture, which is going through our reading list to just learn a little bit about web dev to begin with. So, oh, over here, we actually have a Zoom. What is this? Oh, wait a second. Yeah, in the course policies, I actually have a little paragraph about what I want to see for people. I actually encourage you guys to just unmute, just be unmute, and that'll be totally fine. You can just make comments, ask questions anytime. Just feel comfortable speaking up, and I feel like that will help people get to know each other better and just stay engaged. So if you would like, you can just unmute, stay on mute, and we'll just talk, just hanging out, right? So going to this, for this week, the objective is, for people to start getting to know each other and, get familiarized with our course format, structure, and policies, and look into the portal, which is just right here, so that you can see all the relevant information. And if you look through it and you are confused about some stuff, you're always welcome to, you can probably make comments on here, or just ask me anytime. And today we'll learn to write code in HTML and CSS, which are two of the building blocks of all of web. And then you're gonna write code to build your own personal website. So now let us start with looking into these. I'm gonna make sure I share my sound and let me know if you are not able to hear.
Hello everybody. In this video we will cover how the web works in relation to web development. By the end of this video you will understand how the three main file types of web development, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, interact to form a web page, as well as how web pages are sent from the internet to your computer. Before we can start talking about HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, we need to focus on how websites on the internet work. The first main component of all websites are its files. These files include HTML, CSS, JavaScript, images, and videos, and determine how the website will look and function. The second component is the server. The server is a computer that is hooked up to the internet and stores all the files needed to run a website. These servers are nothing more than computers set up.
I'm just gonna speed this up because he's talking a little slow, and we are a little bit behind on time, and you don't have to remember all of these because you can look back at it literally anytime. So we're just gonna go through it pretty fast.
Specifically to send the files of a web page to the web browser. Speaking of a web browser, the final component of the internet is a web browser. The web browser is a program that runs on your computer or phone that knows how to properly render the web page files being sent by the server. The web browser is commonly referred to as the client. Now that you understand the very basics of how web pages work on the internet, let's dive into the three main file types of a web page.
Okay, does anybody understand now the basics of how the internet works? Okay, I think I was talking through that a little bit, so let's just
to run a website.
Make sure we understand.
These servers are nothing more than computers set up specifically to send the files of a web page to the web browser. Speaking of a web browser, the final component of the internet is a web browser. The web browser is a program that runs on your computer or phone that knows how to properly render the web page files being sent by the server. The web browser is commonly referred to as the client. Now that you understand the very basics of how web pages work on the internet, let's dive into the three main file types of a web page. The first file type is HTML, also known as Hypertext Markup Language. HTML is the foundation of every website and is used to define the content of a website. HTML will include the text, titles, links, and images that compose a website. If the website was a house, HTML would be the foundation, walls, and windows. The second file type is CSS, also known as Cascading Style Sheets. Technically, a website can be made with only HTML files, but it will look terrible. That is where CSS comes in. CSS defines the aesthetic look of a web page and is the equivalent of paint color and window curtains on a house. The last file type of website is JavaScript. Many great sites have been made with only CSS and HTML, but as soon as you want to add any functionality to a web page, such as a pop-up or a complex form, you will need JavaScript. JavaScript is what controls all the functionality of a web page and is equivalent to the doorknob that allows a door to be opened and closed on a house. We now understand the purpose of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, but how exactly does the server send these files to the web browser? This is done via HTTP, also known as Hypertext Transfer Protocol. HTTP works similarly to a conversation with a friend. You may ask a friend what their favorite movie is, and they will respond by saying that Titanic is their favorite movie. Based on your friend's answer, you may ask additional questions, such as who is the main actor of that movie, and your friend will answer with Leonardo DiCaprio. In HTTP, the web browser asks the server for a specific HTML file, and the server will respond with that file. The browser will then parse the HTML file, and if it sees any additional information that it needs, such as images or CSS files, it will ask the server to send those additional files. Most sites that you visit will be using HTTPS, which stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure, to communicate. This functions exactly the same as HTTP, but the information being sent between the server and the web browser are being encrypted. The last component of the internet is the conversion of domain names to IP addresses. This is a complicated topic, but you will only need to know the very basics to develop web pages. Every website has a domain name that the website is accessible at. This is just the URL of the website, such as google.com or speedtest.net. Servers, which store the web page files, do not know anything about domain names, but they do have a unique IP address. This means that to access google.com, the web browser will need to convert the domain name into the IP address of the server with Google's web page files. This process is called domain name resolution. It is not necessary to understand how domain name resolution works, but you do need to know that servers have an IP address that can be mapped to from a domain name. This concludes the basics of how the web works. You should now understand how HTML, CSS, and JavaScript work together to render web pages, and how web browsers and servers communicate. Let me know down in the comments which of the 3 languages.
Okay, that was pretty much it. It's just really basic intro of like how the web works. And if you feel like you didn't understand much about what he just said, that's totally absolutely fine. Don't worry about that. But this course is aiming to be hands-on, so we'll just focus on only getting to know what is needed to know to get certain things done, and you don't really have to know anything that you don't have to know. Right, so next we'll just go into HTML.
Hypertext Markup Language, or HTML, is a language that defines the structure of content on a web page. Development started in 1989 at CERN by Tim Berners-Lee, who had just invented the world's first web browser, World Wide Web, the origin of www, but he needed a publishing language to display content within it. So he chose a syntax based on the standard generalized markup language, which uses opening and closing tags to provide meaning to otherwise unorganized text, like H for heading, P for paragraph, and most importantly, A for anchor to link to a different web page. The language underwent many changes during the initial rise of the internet and was standardized as HTML5 in 2008, the version we know and love today. Modern HTML contains tags to handle a variety of different media types, like video, audio, and canvas to draw custom graphics on the fly. The typical HTML element starts with an opening and closing tag. In the middle, we have content, which might be text or additional HTML elements called children. The opening tag may also have one or more attributes, which are key value pairs that can customize the appearance or behavior of the element. To build your first web page, create a file named index.html. This file contains a hierarchy of nodes based on the document object model, or DOM. A web page starts with an HTML tag and has exactly 2 children, a head and a body. The head contains things that aren't directly shown in the web page, like a title or a meta tag to give the page a description. But notice how the meta element has no closing tag. Closing tags are generally optional when an element is fully self-contained. The body contains the actual UI for the end user. We might start with an H1 heading followed by a paragraph of content. To add an image, we use an image tag, which you'll notice is self-closing. Then define the source attribute as the file path to the image, and you'll want to give it an alt description to make it accessible to robots and screen readers. What makes web pages revolutionary, though, is their ability to link to other web pages on the information superhighway. Use an anchor tag to create a link, then define the href attribute as the web page that you want to navigate to when clicked. HTML also provides structural tags like division, or div, which are often used to group elements together, where they can be styled to represent complex UI elements like navbars. When you're happy with your code, grab the full file path to the HTML file and paste it into any web browser. Congratulations, you just built your first website. This has been Hypertext Markup Language in 100 seconds. Hit the
Okay, so that was again a very fast, very quick overview of what HTML is and what HTML does. And so with that, I'm gonna take us into this link right here. I'll post it in the chat. That is a great place for us to learn everything there is to know about HTML. It's a very easy to use and also a pretty hands-on tutorial of just getting to know all the concepts of HTML. There's literally everything there is to know, and they have a lot of these little try yourself sections where if you click this, it will take you to just a little editor, and then for anything that you write, it would just show up. For example, right here I can use h1 tag, which is heading level 1, I guess, and I can just write my name and close the tag, and if I click run, it'll just show up. So for right now, I want everybody to take a few minutes and go to this link, and like I said, I want you to try to organize your windows to look like this, so that you can have these on one side, and I guess your Zoom on the other side, so you can kind of follow along with what I'm doing, and at the same time try out these things for yourself. So I want you to again go to this right here, www.schools.com/html, and then we'll just go through this tutorial for a little bit. And the point of going through this is that in the future, or as you're going through the course, you can always use these to, on your own time, learn HTML on your own and just learn like all the really practical things. So, so for now, this just comes to this web page right here. And if you have any trouble with that, just let me know. All right, so first of all, we'll just go through, I guess, their introduction. So basically, same information is what you just saw right here. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It's a standard for markup language for creating web pages, all that stuff. So a simple HTML element just looks like this. It has a tag for .type, it's HTML. I think that's a little redundant because it's obviously just HTML with the way that it looks. It's also wrapped around in HTML so that everything within is HTML, including these. A little redundant, myself. So you have a head tag right here that will contain basically all the information about the web page. For example, the title of these is gonna be page title. If it was an actual tab, then it will show right here where it should be. And then let's just look at this. You have a body where that's actually going to contain the real content of the HTML page. So as you can see right here, whatever you have, if you can modify it, my first line, everything you modify and you click run, it will just show up right here so that you can see how HTML basically works. So that really is mostly it about the structure of HTML. So like I just say, this declares that this document is an HTML5 document and all that stuff. And there's a lot of different HTML tags. For example, we have links, hyperlinks, very simple. It's just an A tag where it has an href. And then for this URL, it's just the actual URL for wherever that links to. And a quick example right here, this right here, this A tag is wrapped inside a P tag, if you can see. And in HTML, you can divide things like this with formatting. Take code formatting, and it'll just make perfect sense. It doesn't matter if it's like this or in this way that it was before. And they just wrapped it inside the P tag so that it's a paragraph, but you actually don't have to have that at all. You can just have an A tag. Let me show that. You can just have an A tag right here on its own, and then it'll just be able to show you that these takes you to actually wherever that is. I can also change these right here to Google. Refuse to connect. I don't know what that's about, but you get the idea. So back to that introduction, a little bit going further. Let's see. Yeah, we went through all of these pretty much HTML page structure. Just like what we saw earlier, this is a little bit of a visualization. You have the head, which just contains information about the web page, and then the actual body, and then a little bit of history. You don't really have to know. So let's go into the basic examples. This is the same stuff as we saw earlier. Doc type, that's it. And then headings. Let's just try headings. Headings is very basic and straightforward. All the headings, 1 to H1, H2, H3, they are different levels of headings that you can just use at any time. But you can also just stick to H1 and then use other ways to basically change the size of the text, and it'll just function, the same. It's not really necessary to use the exact size so that you can have like the right font size. And paragraphs as well. We're just going through all of these really quickly, really briefly, because you can always refer back to these if you kind of forgot anything about this, or if you want more practice. So a P tag, just a paragraph, and what it is that the actual HTML element will go and take up the entire space right here in this line, and then whatever this paragraph is, it'll just go on and on and on. And then if it goes over, I guess like this, it'll just take up that space and expand line by line by line. So that's just kind of what it is. Really basic stuff. And we went through links again. And the image tag is really important because websites usually want some images. And this is very simple. It's a little bit like the A tag, where it's just gonna take, I guess, a source, right? And then that would just be whatever that image you want, where it can be found. For example, if you have a web page, HTML page that is on your computer, you can copy the file link, the file path of wherever that image is stored on your computer, and then display that within your, I guess, browser. Or you can just go to anywhere on the internet and then just find like an image. You can get the image address and put that in there, and it'll just show up. So that's what the source is, and pretty much that. The alt, or I guess alternative, is just information that can be displayed when you hover. It's not when you hover, but I think is what shows up if for some reason this image didn't load. It would just say this is www.schools.com or something like that. You can modify width and height. I'll make it square right here. Oh, we went back. Doesn't matter. It's pretty simple. It's really pretty simple. So going back. Okay, from here, I actually want you guys to now try out the HTML exercises. Really basic stuff. And actually, we should go through the HTML attributes a little bit, because the attributes are really important. So HTML attributes, they just provide additional information about these HTML elements. For example, the href for an A tag is one of the attributes. These is a hyperlink, and this attribute specifies the URLs of the web page of where that goes to. So this is the same thing we saw earlier. And then we saw that the image tag has the source attribute, right? And like I say, you can have an absolute URL to link to something on the internet, or relative URL of where your image is stored so that it can be displayed. Width and height, straightforward. You can just define that within the HTML tag. And the alt attribute specifies the alternate text in the image. Yeah, like I say, if it cannot be displayed for some reason, the text will show up instead of the image. And it's actually pretty important for, first of all, sometimes if the image is supposed to show, but it doesn't show, it can confuse people. So you can kind of show that what is supposed to be there at least. And it's also important for accessibility because for people who have visual impairments, they may rely on that to understand what is going on in the web page. So it's always good to have like an alt attribute for your image, even though on the actual web page, usually you will not even see the difference of having these or not at all. But it's good to have an alt tag, not an alt tag, an alt attribute to specify what your image is. So the style attribute is where it gets a little more interesting. Oh, hey Nate, so you can stay on mute, and thank you for joining. And I encourage everybody to turn on their camera just so that we can see each other and get to know each other. And it's okay if you missed the first part. The lecture is recorded, so it will be on YouTube. So the style attribute of an element can basically allow you to add CSS to your HTML code. So this, as you see right here, it's like technically CSS, where CSS is used to style your HTML elements in every way possible. As you can see, this style attribute just defines that it has a red color. I can also change this to have the blue color. So that's just pretty much how you can add CSS to each individual HTML tags. And I can also give it a complete different one. For example, font size. I'm gonna make it 50 pixels. Boom, there you go. It's really that simple. So with all these, it just matters what HTML CSS that you need to add to which HTML elements. Theoretically, you could add a bunch of HTML elements, and then they all have their individual CSS, I guess, style attribute. But that's just not the efficient way to do things, because suppose I want 3 paragraphs, right? I want them all to be the same font size. I don't necessarily have to do this. I can also use a style tag. And this style tag will allow me to add CSS to my HTML elements. And I can basically just say, I want all my paragraphs to be a specific way. For example, font size 50 pixels or 30. And you can see that if I take these out, right here. Okay, and let me get rid of these for now. You said I have 3 paragraphs, but with this style tag, I can make all of my key tags font size 30 pixels, including these. And you don't necessarily have to make every paragraph the same way either. You can give it an ID so that you can specify that exact element, paragraph, so that you can refer to it by its ID, like this, using I guess a pound sign. I want my paragraph alone, only this one, to be 30 pixels large, just like that. And what you could also use is the class attribute, where you can specify this is a class of HTML elements. The ID has to be unique. There cannot be 2 HTML elements with the same ID, and the class is for basically an ID for multiple elements. For example, I can call this large or small. So there's a large paragraph. And then I can just copy these for these right here. So for every element that you want to refer to, you will use this. And then what you want to do is use dots. A lot of people get this confused and wonder why their CSS is not working, because you have to use the correct reference. For the class, you use, for example, a dot large paragraph. And then you can specify this is going to be, I guess, font size even bigger, 60 pixels. And that's it. It's that simple. So this is like just some of the main ways that you can add CSS to your HTML code, to style them, to modify them visually in all different ways. So I think that is pretty much like really the bare bone basics of what you need to know about HTML and CSS. And for now, I want to give you guys a little bit of time to just go through these HTML exercises. And what I want you guys to do is, for each of these exercises, for example, this one had a tooltip. We never went through what the tooltip is, right? But I want you guys to try and figure out and use Google to find the answer for all of these prompts, because that's really how it works. For a programmer, you don't necessarily have to know what is the exact name, the exact term for everything. But if you have an idea for wanting to do something, for example, I want to add a tooltip to a paragraph that I have. So what you would do is really to just Google and find out, how do I add a tooltip to a paragraph? So what you would do is Google add a tooltip to a paragraph, HTML, something like that. And then I guess you would just be able to find some information about it. But for this particular one, I guess it's just title. We can skip that because that one is not a good one. But see, this one is really basic. We have an image and you want to modify the width and height. So you can just modify it just like that. So you can just basically get it right there. So I'll let you guys take about 5 minutes and I'll send this in the chat. You guys can just start going from number 2 and take some time to just go through the exercises. And if you don't know what it is, or if you kind of know what it is, but you don't remember exactly what it is, I want you to Google it. So for example, this is the prompt, and then I want you to Google how to make an A tag go to another website. Just use Google to help you find out the answer, and then whatever you can see, try it out, and that will usually just help you, find the correct answer, which is how usually you will go about things starting out. You're gonna have a lot of questions. You're gonna have a lot of things that you're, kind of know but not sure about. You always use Google, so just know that the answer is out there somewhere, right? So I'll let you guys take a few minutes and just try out these HTML exercises. And everybody, I want you to, you can kind of just unmute, and then as we look at it together, you can give your idea, and then we'll just like look at it together. And because that's also what you're gonna be doing a lot during these group activities for the course. You just kind of give out your idea and just try to work on things together. Okay, it seems pretty basic. We went through that a little bit earlier. Does anybody know like the syntax? Right, pretty much just like that. You can copy and paste it, and that's it. That's it. That's simple. Next. All right. So that one is the most important heading, right? Very good, very easy, right? No tricks, no trick questions. Okay, just adding a paragraph. That's it, just that simple. All right. Okay, thank you very much, Caroline. So I guess hopefully you guys got feel like you feel confident just about how HTML works. Can I get a thumbs up, like real quick, right? Real quick, if you feel right, if you're comfortable with what's going on, Nate, you're comfortable. Okay, okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. It's okay. You missed a little bit in the beginning, but you'll catch up. You'll catch up. All right. So from here, 1 second. Share screen again. We'll go back into um, back to our agenda. So that was about HTML, and now we're gonna take a close look at CSS, which is the second piece of the puzzle for building out your personal website today. So let's start with this.
CSS is a style sheet language famous for making websites look pretty. By default, a browser will render HTML as a boring black and white document. CSS allows you to describe the presentation of this markup by modifying the size, color, positioning, and layout of HTML elements. It was first released in 1996 and evolved into CSS3 by 1999. The language continues to evolve to this day with new features, but there will never be a CSS4, just updates to the existing language. The typical CSS rule starts with a selector that can be matched to an element in the HTML document. You then use braces to create a declaration block that contain properties that change the appearance of that element. This is known as a CSS rule, but the tricky thing is that style sheets cascade. A style sheet might contain multiple rules that apply to the same element. This creates a hierarchy, and rules that are more specific will overwrite the rules of their parents. In other words, the order of your CSS rules matter. In addition, some elements will inherit the styles of their parent, but others will not. Ultimately, the browser uses the concepts of cascade, specificity, and inheritance to control which styles are applied to an element. To get started, open up a style tag in any HTML document. A selector can target all HTML elements of a certain type, multiple related elements with a custom class, or a single element with an ID. Now, think of every HTML element like a box. The content is in the middle, followed by padding, border, and a margin. The amount of real estate used by every area in the box can be customized by defining properties like padding and margin. They can take explicit pixel values or responsive values that are relative to the parent element or a percentage of the viewport itself. Now these boxes will bump into each other to make up a web page, but you can use tools like flex layout and grid layout to control how they flow together in a sophisticated way. It can also detect user interaction with pseudo selectors like hover. CSS also makes it possible to add logic to your code with variables or custom properties, and by making media queries that can apply styles conditionally based on the size or type of device. And it can even handle complex animations with transitions and keyframes. This has been Cascading Style Sheets in 100 seconds. Hit the like button and subscribe if you want to see more short videos like this. Thanks for watching.
Okay, and again, went through a lot in a short time, but that's totally fine. You can always refer back to these, or you can always find another source to learn about CSS. For example, if you just just Google CSS, you can see these. You can see MDN Web Docs, which is basically official documentation on literally everything there is to know about CSS. So you can go through basics as well. Just over here, there's tons of places to learn all of these things. So again, the goal of the course is not to teach you everything. The goal of the course is to teach you how to learn everything, right? So, we don't give a man a fish, give a person a fish and just feed them for a day, right? That's not helpful. We want you to be able to learn how to learn, right? All right, so from there, we want to go into WD School's CSS tutorial again, and you guys can just find that in the course portal right here. Give me a thumbs up if you can see the course portal, if you have access to the course portal. Okay, all right, good. So just from here, we'll go into the CSS tutorial real quick. And I guess we'll just start off with this one right here. So, okay, you see this one looks kind of nice already, right? Very nice color. We got over here a style tag right here, as you can see, where it specifies all the CSS rules for everything that's applied onto this body, onto all these elements. So as you can see, the body is you can even specify that so that the entire actual body, the entire contents will have this background color. Or usually it's just background color that you will use this for. But the rest of them, the H1 can specify to have white color, the text align, which is a very commonly used attribute. You can align it to the left, you can align to the right. So you have full creative freedom of where exactly you want what to be and what it will look like. You have full freedom to like designate that using HTML and CSS alone. So which is how we'll be able to build like a personal website using only the HTML and CSS. So for example, I want my name to be on the top. I want it to be I guess black, and then I want it to be aligned in the center. Okay, and now I'm just gonna do this. There you go. So you basically have a web page right there, and that's just it, using very, very basic HTML and CSS. And again, so what matters right here is just that you need to know what are the attributes that you can use. For example, you have a font family for you to decide basically what font it'll be. If you get rid of this, you see you just have the, I guess, standard, what is it? Is it Times New Roman? I don't even know what's the default, but you know, just the default font. And you can use font family to give it a random, I don't know, as font, whatever you want. And in this case, you like kind of just already have to know the names for whatever font you want to use. I think we have a Comic Sans. Nah, I don't even know. So right here, it can be a little hard for you to just like figure out what is available to use. But if you're in VS Code, it will always give you suggestions for what is possible to use. So before I let you guys just practice with this, we'll go through a little bit more. So let's see. I guess we'll take a look at the selectors. We already went through that. I did earlier when we were going through HTML. And then also a little bit again with a video. But again, this is like one of the most fundamental things with CSS. You have to be able to select the exact element that you want. So you'll be able to have a lot of different elements that you can modify appropriately. And a lot of times when you're like trying to write code on a program, you will find out just your CSS is just not being applied. For example, you might have something like that and you're wondering what's wrong with your CSS, what's wrong with these. You keep focusing on trying to fix this, but turns out it's just because the reference is not correct. So if your reference is correct, then everything that you write will be applied onto your HTML elements. So with all that being said, I want to go into the box model a little bit. So the box model, like we talked about a little bit earlier, is everything that concerns the I guess the padding, margin, and positioning of the HTML elements on your web page. So we'll just go through this video to learn a little bit about Flexbox, CSS Flexbox, which is one of the ways that you can manipulate the positioning of all the HTML elements on your web page.
Flexbox, a flexible way to lay out items as either a column or a row. Start with a container, like a div, and give it a display property of flex. The flex container now has control over how its immediate children are laid out. By default, the flex direction is set to row, and a row has a main axis that runs horizontally and a cross axis that runs vertically. If we add items to the row with a fixed width, they'll sit in the top left corner. That's because the main axis starts at the left and the cross axis at the top. The items will be laid out one after the other from the main axis starting point. The amount of space that each item takes up on the main axis is known as the main size. In this case, each item has a fixed width of 50 pixels. But if we change the item width to 100%, the flexible container will distribute the items evenly across the main axis. You can now think of the sizing in terms of a ratio where each item takes up 1 unit of space. You can change that ratio by setting the flex property on an individual item. If we set flex to 2 on the middle item, it now takes up 50% of the available space because there's a total of 4 flex units at play. Now, you'll often want to control the way items are spaced or aligned along the main axis. Use justify content to space your items evenly, maximize the space between, or push them to the flex endpoint. You can also use these same techniques along the cross-axis with the align items property, and that means we can easily align things both horizontally and vertically by both aligning and justifying the items to the center. We can easily convert our row into a column by setting the flex direction to column. The only thing that changed is that our main axis now runs vertically and the cross-axis horizontally. Everything else works exactly the same. Just tilt your head sideways. This has been CSS Flexbox in 100 seconds. Make sure to hit the like button if you want to see more short videos like this. Thanks for watching. And I will see you in the comments.
That was it, and as you can see, with
Control the way items
using the justify content, let's start.
They're spaced or aligned along
all
the
the elements. All of the elements are squeezed into just the starting position, and justifying content. That's just the attribute that you would use to decide how the elements basically take up space together. Right, so space between, as you can see, it takes up all the space there is and giving the appropriate amount of space in between evenly, right? And space evenly as well. What is it? Space evenly really takes up distributes all the space evenly, including all these different sides. So from there, I want you guys to go through some of the CSS exercises from here, and I want to pick another person to share screen and kind of help us walk us through the HTML. No, that's not the HTML. The CSS exercises. Does anybody want to volunteer? Awesome, Riley. Go ahead and share screen. I'm gonna let you. All right. Okay, so any of you, if you just know what you're supposed to write there, you can just unmute and just say it and just say the answer out loud. Anybody? Nate?
Does this little brackets with the H for the heading go right there?
They want you see the prompt, set the color of OP.
Oh, P. Okay, yeah. So the P element goes before the bracket. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the space over there is only for one letter, one character. So what you want to put over there is actually the P. If you just write P, it will refer to all the P tags. And over here is where you write your attribute, and you want to have a column at the end. Oh, no. The color is the attribute, right? And then color column. That's a semicolon. There we go. And enter. Yeah, that'll be it. There we go. Next one. Marco, can you do this one?
I know on the second box it's gonna be color again, like color, and then the
Right, exactly.
thing. On
So,
top, I don't exactly know.
that's totally fine. Anybody know?
Would it be? It'll be pair one, right? Because it's the ID of the thing you're trying to change.
Almost there. Yeah, you got a good idea. You're in the right direction. So with an ID, you don't need a quotes, you don't need other things. You just need a pound sign before the exact name of the ID. That will be it. So you're gonna type a pound sign before that. Yep. So that will allow you to specify that exact element used with that exact ID. Let's go to the next one. Hi, Lauren. Thank you for joining us. If you missed, the first part, that's totally fine. The lecture will be recorded and be on YouTube, so you can just refer back to it.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
All right. So now we want to refer to all the elements with that class. So does anybody remember how do you refer to a specific class? Anybody? Okay. So you see right here, that is a good opportunity for us to learn again, how do we go about like learning something that we want to do, but we don't know how. So Riley, can you go to Google and help us just type a question? Does anybody have an idea for how to phrase this question right here? Riley, you can just go ahead, like just try your best and just think, okay, I want to set the color of all elements with a class, with a specific class. So how can I do that? Okay. To select elements with a specific class with period character. There we go. So now we know the answer. Just use period and then the name. That's it. There you go. It's that simple. So the point of these is really to show you guys, it's impossible to know everything, and it's totally fine if you don't know anything. What matters is you always know where to find something. You always know how to learn something, so that even if you don't know everything, you can do anything, right? All right, so let's do one more. OP tag and H1 tag elements to read, group the selectors. So they want you to reference both of these HTML element types using a single selector. So this one is something we haven't went through before, but again, that is an opportunity for us to learn how to do something right. So you can just Google again how to I guess use how to reference different HTML element types with one CSS selector. Okay, that might tell us something. How about let's click into that. All right, there we go. So that references both the div tags and the p tags. So we'll do the same thing. very simple, just with okay, I guess it has to be h1, so you probably don't need. Okay, all right, there we go. Again, like I just say, what really matters is you don't have to know everything, but everything you want to do, you want to know that there is an answer out there somewhere, and you just have to go and find it, and that's it. So next, thank you for sharing screen, Riley. Thank you very much. So let's go into a little bit more about the box model. We probably could have done that after this, but now it's a great time for us to go into this. Now that we know how to reference HTML elements with CSS selectors. So this is a great practice for us to learn. Once we have all these HTML elements that we want, how do we position them in the exact place that we want it, so that everything will look nice? If it has to be aligned right, it's aligned right. If it has to be aligned center, then it's where you want it. So again, Lawrence, if you haven't accessed the course portal right here, send it in the chat so you can get to it, and you can just find this lab right here. It's Flexbox Froggy, or you can just type the URL and we can go to this place. So this is where we're gonna practice how to position elements a little bit. And besides Flexbox Froggy, they also have like a CSS grid garden, which is pretty much the same thing. It's just kind of like a game way to learn. You know, it's always great to learn what is at least a little fun. It's a little interesting. But the reason why I yes, little frogs. So the reason why I let you guys, you know, do Flexbox Froggy instead of the other one is because I personally think Flexbox is a better way and an easier way to just, you know, position everything. It's a lot more dynamic, and grid is usually not used, in my opinion, or in my experience and my observation, not used for anything complicated, because it's just takes a lot. It takes a lot of thinking. It takes a lot of like modification to get it to behave the exact way you want. But Flexbox is really flexible. So as we can see right here, it only shows us the CSS code. It doesn't show us the HTML, but we can tell that, okay, so we have a pond. Oh, I'm over here. Okay, so let's start from level 1, right? Does anybody give me a thumbs up if you're at this page? Okay, great. And again, I want to pick one person to share screen. Marco, do you want to share screen? All right. Yeah, I'm gonna let you share screen, and then you can guide us through this. All right. So let's read a little bit about what it's saying. This is a game to help you write CSS code. What it wants you to do is to put this frog onto the lily pad using the justify content property. So basically what you're seeing right now is that you have a pond, right? Which is just that entire area. You have a pond and it's selected using that ID pond. So that when you set it to display flex, you turn it into a flex box. And since it's a flex box, you can use these properties, justify content and more, to specify how you want to align or position all the items that's within this pond. So they want you to put this frog onto the lily pad, right? Which means that since the lily pad is just right there, not moving, and the frog is supposedly one of the elements in this flex box, you can use the justify content property to align it wherever you want. So you can just type that into the area. You can use justify content. And there we go. It's that easy. So it just goes wherever you want. And then we'll do the same thing again, but this time we only want to be basically centered. right? So we'll type into justify content again and see how we can make it center. Oh, there's one like that. There's one right there already. So justify content colon, pretty much just center, and we'll get it to the right place. And remember, you need the colon. There we go, just like that. Next one. Caroline, do you want to try? What do you think this one will be? So you can see, I guess, the options when you hover over the text justify content right there. If you hover over it, yeah, it gives you like the options right there. So Caroline, do you want to like guess which one will make it work?
Maybe flex end.
You can try it. So they're all aligned to the right, basically, after you do that. So you want them to be kind of spaced, either around or between or evenly. Maybe we can try one of those. Nate, any idea?
I tried space evenly, but it didn't work.
Yeah.
Can you can use values with space between or no?
Can you use what?
Can you input like a value for space between or no?
No, you wouldn't do anything else. You would just use justify content, and then it'll just go where it's supposed to go. So you could use margin and padding to tweak it a little bit, but right here we're just choosing the right one. So Riley, what do you think? It seems like it's there, but it's a little bit off, which happens a lot when you're working with CSS. You can put something somewhere and it's just a little bit off. So it takes trial and error for you to figure out the exact way to do something. So Riley, what's your guess?
I tried it, but I got the wrong one too.
Sorry?
Never mind. I thought I knew, but I just tried it. Oh, found it. Space around.
Okay, Lauren says space around. Awesome. You see, it makes a very tiny difference, but sometimes the tiny difference is exactly what you want, right? It's fun. Okay, I think we know this one. We know this one. Riley, what do you think this one is? What do you think is this one?
Space between.
There we go. Awesome, awesome. So let's just take, I guess, a couple more minutes. You guys can keep trying, and I guess we can just keep working on these together as well. Or if you want to go through these on your own, we'll just keep going through it for a couple more minutes. And then after that, we'll have about, I guess, half an hour or so to work on the personal website. So let's see. All right, so align items is basically justify contents, the same thing, but instead of in a horizontal way, it's in a vertical way. So pretty much the same options that you have right there. There we go. Pretty easy. Okay, justify content again. All right, so you need to center the frog to the exact center of the pond, which means that you gotta center it in the horizontal way and then in the vertical way. So there we go. You need justify contents and align items. Easy. See? All right. Now for the vertical direction, you have to place it in the end. But this one in a horizontal position, I think you need to space it accordingly. Okay, almost there. Almost there. There we go. There we go. So again, as you can see, a lot of the time that you're gonna spend on writing CSS code is not even so much, you know, figuring out what to do, but more so figuring out when you think you know how to do something and it's a little bit off, how do you get it to be exactly right? That's what you will spend a lot of time doing when you're writing CSS code. So let's try this one. What is this? Oh, this one is a little tricky. You really need to learn row reverse or column reverse. It's not very practical thing, in my opinion. But apparently, they want you to place the frogs red, yellow, and green in that order, and align them out to the right. So you would use probably row reverse, and that's it. That's it. Yeah, that one is not very practical. I think the first 8 ones are probably all you need. So I think that's about it. And we'll take a very short break. It's 10:56. We'll take a very short break right here. We'll get back together at 11 on your own, then you learn the necessary things. So no worries about that. I want you guys to install VS Code right here. Actually, we could just go back to the portal. All right, so now it's 11, so we can come back from the break together. And if you could, please turn on your camera so we can all be engaged together. So the personal website, a little bit overview again. You will create a personal website for you, for yourself for the first assignment, and using CSS, HTML, CSS only. It's a great way. A personal website is a great way for you to introduce yourself and showcase your work to future employers. So if you're a software engineer, computer science major, or mechanical engineering major, you can have your portfolio of projects that you worked on and things like that. If you're not a any kind of engineering major, you don't have really projects, you can still have your, your mission, your summary of just personal working experiences, and all that is going to be a great way to show people that you're just professional, you have personal branding. It's a really good thing to, set yourself, stand out from everybody else that don't have things like that. So after finishing your website, I encourage you to keep your website up to date with new projects. And if you learn new or better HTML and CSS like skills and tricks, you can always refine your website to build onto your skills. All right, so with this project, you will, as you are going through it, you will learn like not just how to describe, but manipulate the basic foundational structures of web page using HTML and CSS. And you will use CSS to style your HTML elements and position them to the correct way that you want. So for your personal website, I want you to define 3 sections for your web page. You want to have a main header, which you can look at mine as an example. I want you to have a main header of just the sections, and the purpose of them would just be to, if you click on that, it'll take you to the exact section. That's just for you to practice using an A tag. This is actually an A tag right here. And by the way, you can, if you're on Chrome, you can use right-click inspect to see exactly what is going on. To see exactly what is going on with that web page. And you can do this with every website. So with the HTML code that I wrote, as you can see, this is an A tag right here that is grouped inside a nav bar right here, right? A nav bar, you can expand that. And what you'll see is this. You have an about, which, as you can see, it doesn't link to a URL. It just links to pawn about. And if you remember, this is a reference to a single HTML element. So that is going to be what you see right here. If I click that, I'll be taken to about. If I click this, I'll be taken to skills. So that's just what it does when you use an A tag and use a pound sign to refer to specific elements that you have in your web page. And usually it doesn't scroll down smoothly. You're gonna have to use additional CSS to achieve that, but that's not important right now. So you can look at my website as an example. I'm just gonna give you the link in the chat so you can reference that if you want to build out your personal website. So I want you to have 3 main sections. I want you to have a main header, a biography, and a portfolio. Like I say, if you do not have like projects that you can showcase, whether it's software engineering or anything, I would still want you to have that, because throughout this course, you will build out projects for you to showcase anyways. So I want you to build out a portfolio section. Actually, if you do not have any projects at all, you can replace that with like a work experience section or a contact link section. That would be good. Just this. If you do not have any projects at all, I want you to replace that with a contact link section. So let me just check that. Contact projects. All right. So that if you want, you can also add that. So at least 3 defined sections about that, and then use CSS styling to style background colors. So as you can see, these right here is actually a little bluish, right? But coming down, it's actually white because you can use gradients, which is a very nice CSS, I guess, property to use. Background is, I use background image. I guess that's just what I found works. But linear gradients, it goes from this value right here, which technically specifies this color. So this is a way to represent colors in, I guess, in numerical values. So it goes linearly, a gradient going from this color to white from here to here. So you can reference my website. You can reference my website for design or positioning and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, Marco, if you don't have anything for your portfolio, if you don't have any projects, you can just replace it with a contact link section, which is your basic information, or email and phone number. That'll be it. And I want you to have images, at least one image. If you have a professional headshot, that would be nice. If you don't have one, just a picture that you like of yourself. And if you don't want to put a picture of yourself that you like, just anything, just you can go out and find cool pics on Google. Oh shit, that is cool as hell. So you can just find that, copy image address, and then just put it in there. I'm gonna try this. If I inspect, and you can actually go into the inspect tab, and then just change anything you want, and just move. Boom, there you go. You can modify anything on a web page. Is that crazy? Mind blowing. You can modify anything on a web page to just make it look the way you want. But it's obviously only for yourself. For example, if I wanna see, if I want to change these, I can highlight these, or not highlight these. I can inspect. Right, that's showing me that, and then I can see the text right here says "buy again." Let me just say, boom, there you go. You can modify anything on every web page, and it's just whatever you want. You can also change the height, I guess 20 pixels. I don't even know what that looks like. Just anything. So anyways, like I say, this is only for yourself. When like you modify all that, doesn't really change anything. Article will not see that, but you could modify some things and make some sick screenshots and be like, yo, I got $1 million in my bank account, something like that. just for fun, just for fun. So anyways, we got about 20 more minutes left in the class. I want you guys to take that time going through these instructions. I want you to do it together actually. And then there's all these features that you can add. So just going through the instructions, and there's some resources for design, things like that. That'll be helpful for you to take a look at. And first thing I want you to, if you don't already have VS Code, I want you to download VS Code on your computer. You can just download it. And then once you finish downloading, I want you to just open it up. And then create a new text file. Create a new file. And then it's going to ask you basically what type of file you want to create. You just do HTML. Oh, actually, that's not the way. Actually, that should be the way. What's going on here? HTML. Text file. Or select the language. HTML. There you go, and that'll be it. Okay, so if you don't have VS Code downloaded already, I want you to take some time to download that. It shouldn't take too long. And then once you finish downloading that, just keep it all at default settings. Open it up, create a new file, and we'll get started. Give me a thumbs up if you already have VS Code downloaded. Give me a thumbs up if you already have VS Code. No? Okay. All right. I'll give you guys a couple minutes for that. So let's just get started with writing real quick, since we are about 18 minutes left in class.
How do we get to the Java or the actual file type? Because I just have a text file.
Yeah, just have a text file, and then it's gonna actually, Riley, can you share your screen? All right, just select the language and then choose HTML, and that's it. All right.
All right, cool. Thank you. Sorry.
Now we have an empty HTML file. That's great. And then actually, can you share screen again? We'll just use yours to get started. All right. So if you remember, the HTML files in general, they have a bunch of information. They have HTML tag, they have body, they have head. So all that you can actually create like a boilerplate HTML structure if you just delete what you have right there, and then if you just type exclamation mark, right? And as you can see, there's an image abbreviation that will allow you to just if you press enter or click that, it will create everything that you need for a very basic HTML web page, including doc type, HTML, head, body. That's it. So in your body, I want you to write your first piece of HTML code. I want you to create a header, and inside that header, just say capital H, hello, and capital W, world, hello world, exclamation mark. Okay, just like that, and then save it. You can just use Control S, that will save it. Yeah, Control S. You can save it onto your, I don't know, desktop, and you can call it, I guess, personal website. All right, save it. Okay, so with all that, there's two ways you can do. Two ways you can go about looking at your actual file in your browser. So first way is you can go to on the left panel, the first element on the left panel that you see right there. Click that, That's your Explorer. You have no folder open. Right. I guess you can just open up your desktop and then you'll see this file. But you might want to create a folder for all of your projects just to group them together.
Yeah,
So
I'll do that.
that's fine. So open up, I guess, open folder and then just go into your desktop. Go to your desktop. Oh yeah, it's okay, just trust it. So I guess, yeah, you can see right there, you have a bunch of stuff, but you have your personal website .html, right? So you can right click on your personal website. Yeah, right there. You can right click on your personal website, the file, right click on that, and then open with oh, I guess you can do that. I guess you have to go to your desktop. Just go back to your desktop on your actual like Windows and your computer. Just go to your desktop and then find the file.
So the open File Explorer or
File Explorer will work, but it should be like right there.
desktop.
Okay, now find your personal website. Yeah, right there, right? If you just double click that, you see it's a Chrome icon right there. If you just double click that, it will open it up. Boom, there you go. So whatever you wrote, it just went right there. You can open it up with your browser. And if you look at the URL, it's C drive users, exactly what you have right there. So I guess for naming convention for your files like these, you want to name it to be like all lowercase and no spaces, so that it's like usually have a dash in between instead of spaces. So that would have been a better naming for your file, so that the URL will make a little bit more sense. But that's totally fine.
A quick question.
Yep.
How are you able to open it on Chrome?
So if you find the file anywhere in like File Explorer, you should be able to just open it up. And you're on a Mac, so actually, Laura, can you share screen?
Yeah.
I usually personally use a different one, Live Preview. This one for me is always worked fine, but I just thought Live Server is a little bit more popular. Maybe it's just because I don't even fully understand how it works. But with this Live Preview, it's really practical and really easy to use. We'll just forget about Live Server for now. And then can you do something for me? I want you to show preview. I think, oh yeah, that's what it does. So Live Preview allows you to just preview your contents, and if you type something, it shows up right away, right? So it's literally just live, and then you can see your modifications in real time. And this right here is what I expected to see when you open it up. You can also open it up in, I guess, an external browser, which I don't know why this is still showing. I think without I'll install that reload required. So now that we have this extension, we can show preview anytime to see the code that you write, or you can copy this into a browser and then you'll be able to see that in your browser. But what you could do is, I guess, Control-Shift-P. No, let me try again. No. So Lawrence, I want you to press Command-Shift-P for me.
All right.
Mine keeps opening in its own page.
That's good. That's good. We actually prefer to see that, so you can see like what it actually looks like on the page. So type live. You see, yeah. Then it gives you the options to access the functions for your extension. You can do show preview in external browser. Show preview.
And yep, showing an external.
Okay. All right. So that's great. So that's all you have to do for you to actually look at your code. So that will be our starting point for you to start writing your HTML. So like we talked about earlier, I just want you to go through all the instructions. So first of all, you can download VS Code on your computer. And for your assignment, I want you to also have a GitHub account. So you can take some time to do that a little bit later. We have about 5 minutes left in class, so you can do that later. What I want you to do now is set up the building blocks of your web page, go into step 2. And there's also always these guides that you can look at for like the most basic hands-on stuff. So you already did this, create a new file. Yeah, I actually want you to name it index.html. That's the convention. That's the convention. So if you name a personal website, just call it index.html. That will be where your main HTML file is. So if you name your personal website, change it to index.html. And then, like we talked about, you can just do this to create all of these right here. And then you can create a new file and call it style.css in your project folder. And you will watch this video it's just 2-minute video to learn how to connect an CSS file to your HTML file. So you basically separate them, whatever you have in your HTML code and whatever you have in your CSS code, want them to be separated. And then you can have whatever you want in this CSS file, but your HTML file won't have CSS and your CSS file won't have CSS code. It's just a good practice to keep them separate so that it's easier to manage. And all you have to do is just type this link, this relative path. No. I don't know what it stands for, but the type of what this link is a style sheet, cascading style sheet. And the reference, I guess, what is it called? Hyperlink reference. Basically the path is just style.css. You don't need any slashes, you don't need anything because it's in the same folder. So you can just find the style.css file. So once you have that, then you will be able to write HTML and CSS code for your personal website. And then from there, you can take a couple of minutes for that, and then we'll probably be at the end of the class time. Then you can begin to build out your website sections. Do you have any questions? Okay, no questions. Then we can just going from step 2, work on this part, creating a style.css file. And then when you finish, it will probably be the end of class. So we can just dismiss.
We were making a CSS file right now.
Yeah, if you have finished creating the CSS file, and I want you to go through that video that teaches you how to create that and then connect your HTML file with your CSS file, this video right here. And then once you finish that, you can go on to the next step and then just watch some of these videos. You probably don't have time. Just watch these videos and then start with creating different sections with div elements, and then add headers, paragraphs, divs for texts. So you already installed this extension. Now I want you guys to actually use live preview instead of live server. this is really easy to use. I've never had any problems with it. So I'll just let you guys use this. And that will be pretty much it. All right. So going through these instructions, you should be able to like just follow through and do everything that is needed to finish your personal website. So if you have any questions while going through this, please go into the help channel, send a screenshot of your code and a screenshot of what your website looks like, or a screenshot of the instructions for wherever you're confused. And then I guess I'll just try to help you. But I also encourage you guys to work together. That's the main thing. I want you guys to work together and practice, teaching, because when you understand something, you'll be able to teach it, and teaching is the best way to learn. So I want you guys to use this channel to help each other. Any questions that you have, you can send over there, including questions about the program, questions, anything that's related to this course. So going through these instructions, you will finish your assignment for the week. So as I say, the minimum time requirement for this course is 2 to 3 hours per week, and we just had 2 hours in, which means that if you really stick into that, you're gonna finish this in an hour, which theoretically you could if you understand perfectly everything first time and you don't get stuck anywhere. So you could, but realistically, it's gonna take you about maybe 2 or 3 hours alone to finish this, because you might get stuck somewhere and you might get confused somewhere, But all in all, this is a very simple website, very simple web page, very simple assignment. So it's a lot more enjoyable if you do it with a friend, so that if you get stuck somewhere, you can get unstuck right away. So I want you guys to, just message each other, other people, try to work together in our Slack channel, in our Slack workspace, so that you won't be stuck on your own on random things, so you can get through this easier, and then just enjoy building your personal website. And I want you guys to remember, this is supposed to be fun, right? Learning is supposed to be fun. You shouldn't have to learn anything that it's just torture or it's useless. All those things are supposed to be fun. So I want you guys to also try to feel that programming is not only supposed to be fun, but it actually should be an art form, because designing your personal website is really just entirely up to you, how you want anything to be, how you want anything to look, and the aesthetic, the design is entirely up to you. So it's really an art form, really. And all the different little things, making animations, that's all things that you can look into. Just Google it, how to make HTML elements pop up, how to make them fade in, fade out. So it's really all entirely up to you how you want to design it. So have fun with that. You can do anything you can possibly think of. Just Google it. There's a way to do anything. If there's a will, there's a way. So that's also one of the most important things I want you guys to think about. Oh yeah, and I think in the beginning I said I wanted to discuss why learn programming, and kind of forgot about that. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's everything that I just said. Programming is an art form, right? You can write a lot of code and make network requests and all that boring stuff, but when it comes to design, is really entirely up to you. It's a form of self-expression. It's you'll mess up sometimes, you'll struggle sometimes, but whenever you get better and you can build better things, design better things, it's very enjoyable. So I want you guys to just have fun with this, and work with somebody and finish the assignment. And before you go, remember I will send out a survey, end of session survey, for you guys to give your feedback on how you felt about the lecture, and if there's anything we can improve about the course or about the way things are done. So I will send out a survey today, so you guys can please fill that out, and then that will just help me with making sure my course is good quality and find areas of improvement. And that'll be all. So thank you guys very much for joining our first session. And if you have any questions, welcome to use our Slack and ask me anytime. That will be where we'll be communicating. And if you have a friend who you think might be interested in this course, you can still invite them to join this course with you. They'll just, I guess they can access the course portal and go through those same stuff. We look at it all together and then catch up, or they can look at our video recording. Did I record this? Yes, it's recorded. Okay. If I didn't record it, I'll be pissed. Yeah, they can review our lecture recording on YouTube. It'll be on YouTube, and then they'll just be able to catch up. So that should be all. And again, thank you guys very much, and have fun with your assignment, and have a good weekend.
Will the recording be on YouTube? If possible, can you send me the link or the YouTube channel name?
I will post it in Slack.
Okay, sweet.
All right.
Is this every Saturday from 9:30 to 11:30?
Yep.
All right, cool. Thank you.
The assignments are due every Saturday.
Every Saturday at midnight. And it's totally fine if it's late. What am I gonna do, right? But I want you guys to, if you for some reason can't finish every part of your assignment, for example, you're missing some parts, and by midnight Saturday or by Sunday midnight, if you don't finish it, just submit it, whatever you have, so that you can at least have something, and just for me to see, okay, how far you got and how much you learned, I mean, what you might be missing, things like that. And most importantly, just move on and like learn new things, and not be so hung up on things that are being finished. And that's it.
We covered more today than the entirety of my intro to computer science class so far.
Yeah, true.
That's
It
great.
was so slow. It's nice to actually be able to learn and not just like listen to ranting.
That's great. That's great, because I mean, learning should be fun and learning should be practical, right? Learning is always theory and practice, and a lot of times classes are just old theory and no practice. It's torture. It's boring. So learning should always be fun and practical and enjoyable overall. All right. And if you have any more questions, if you don't have any more questions, then goodbye. See you next Saturday. Have a good weekend. And if you do have any more questions later on, you're welcome to send them in Slack.
Hey,
Thank you.
Luca.
Yep.
Yeah, I have usually I'm shifting to night shift, so I'll be working always night shift. So, and also have an 8-page paper to do for my master's class.
Right.
If I don't get to work today, I'll see if I can get it to Sunday evening. I think I should be free by then. So
I think I wasn't very clear. The assignments are due the coming Saturday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's not that crazy. You have a whole week just because we're doing this week by week. You don't have to finish this same day. There's no reason. So yeah, you have a week plus a day, the next Saturday midnight to finish your assignment.
Sweet. All right, thank you, man. I'll be seeing you next Saturday then.
Yeah, thank you.
Also, do you know any data science majors you can get me in contact with? Because I'm engineering right now, but I'm thinking of switching.
You should talk to the professors. They will know best.
I just want to talk to a student about like their opinion of it first, though. Or
data science. I don't think I know any data science majors personally. Okay. No, I don't think so. I probably know some people who are in data science minors, but yeah, it's a good idea to switch to data science. I personally think software engineering is a lot more fun than mechanical engineering, because if you just have a laptop, you can do anything. You can just do anything, right? So personally, I would recommend you to switch.
Because I just got access to DALL-E 2, and I haven't really used it yet, but I'm super excited to start playing around with it.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
So being able to do something like that would be amazing.
Absolutely. And it's really great that you're getting into that because AI is just going to be the trend of the future.
Yeah.
Within a year or two, people will start realizing how crazy this all is. Everybody is starting to look at AI art right now. And then very soon there'll be AI music, AI movies. It's going to be pretty crazy. So it's a good field to get into.
All right. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Bye.